Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm going to continue on with my series. Last video, I talked about what a 50-mile week looks like, or should essentially look like. And I've given two options. One on if you're a middle distance runner training for races, 800-mile, 3K, 5K. And then on the opposite end, I give you a 50-mile week, or 2-week actually, layout for if you're training for races from 10K, half marathon to marathon, because they look different. Okay, the layout's different, the workouts are different, the emphasis are different. So I think it's important that you see the difference between the two, because certain runs leave room for this, they complement each other, and so on. And it's important to notice the similarities and the differences, which is why I'm kind of providing both. Today I'm going to go over what a 60-mile week would look like if you're a middle distance runner and a distance runner or a long distance runner training for longer stuff. It's on the whiteboard right here, and I'll take you over there in a second. If you're new to the channel and you like running content, whether you're a coach or an athlete, you just want to learn more about training, this channel is definitely for you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and hit the notification next to it so that not only will you have access to the almost 200 videos I put out already, but you won't miss my next ones. I'm going to go over a 70-mile week after this and an 80-mile week after that. So on both sides. So you'll see the progression from one to the next. And that way you have an idea of what it can look like, whether you're a coach or an athlete. It gives you something that you could look at, either follow or modify into your own. And it might give you some ideas. So I've used this stuff, for over 2 decades. And again, customizing it for certain athletes who have different needs and different kind of lifestyles and work situations and so on. But I think it's important to share it so that you have as much ammunition as possible. And if you like fully detailed training programs, take a look in the description down below. You'll always see some there. And on my channel, you're going to see everything from half mile all the way up to the marathon. So make sure you take a look at the videos, because they're all fully detailed, 12 weeks to 16 weeks, broken down by the day, by the week, and by the month, and fully explained across the board as well. So you're always going to know what's going on and what's there and why it's there. I think it's important. The more you know, the better off you're going to be. So that's why I'm doing these videos. I want to help as many folks in the running community as possible. And if you subscribe, it really helps other people know that the channel exists. And again, I want to share this information with as many folks in the running community as possible. So that's why I'm doing it. Let's get over to the whiteboard and talk about a 60-mile week. All right? So look at this. It's all laid out. All right? Let's start on this side. Middle distance again. You're training for everything from 5K down to 3K down to mile down to 800, okay? It doesn't mean you can't run something longer, but the emphasis is kind of there. And then over here, it's from 10K up to the marathon, all right? And we'll go over what the days are, what it means, and what certain things, why things are there, okay? So let's start here. Well, I take you from Monday through Sunday twice. And I always start Mondays easy, whether you're in school or work. I think it's a great way of starting your week. And I generally do a Tuesday, Friday workout schedule, plus a Saturday long run if you're not racing that week. And either an off day once a week or every other week, or depending on how experienced you are. The more experienced folks get an off day maybe every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks. But again, it's individualized and it's based on need. So let's get back to it. 6 miles easy on Monday. Tuesday, 2-mile warm-up drills and strides, okay? And then you have either tempo or anaerobic threshold running, which could be anywhere from a longer tempo or a 4-mile anaerobic threshold, let's say, plus speed on the back end. So if you do like a 4-mile anaerobic threshold run, a continuous run, then you maybe do a couple of hundreds or 150s on the back end just for turning over. It teaches you how to turn over while you're already fatigued, having done hard work. And that's what that's for. And then a 2-mile cool down. Okay, and I generally incorporate the warm-up and cool-down in the day's total volume. So the ballpark is going to be 50, give or take a mile here and there. And again, you can lengthen a day or shorten a day based on how you see fit for yourself or for your athletes, obviously. 9 miles in strides on Wednesday at a nice steady pace. 7 miles easy on Thursday. Okay, there's always going to be 2 recovery days between workouts, at least. Friday, 2-mile warm-up drills and strides, and then you do a workout between 5K and 3K pace. So this is generally, it could be at about 10K pace or slightly slower. Now we're getting to a little bit faster stuff, 5K to 3K. Let's say you can do 800 meters, and not every workout needs to be long, okay? This could be, let's say, 6 by 800, okay? Progressing from 5K down to 3K pace with a 2-minute recovery, something like that. Okay, and then a 2-mile cool down on the back end. 11 to 12 miles on Saturday. It simulates a little bit like a semi-long run. Okay, and then 4 miles easy in strides on Sunday. All right. Following up the next week, 6 miles on Monday. And then 2-mile warm-up drills and strides workout day on Tuesday. Then you do stuff at mile pace down to 800-meter pace. Okay, let's say, 6 times a 400. And progressing from mile pace, working yourself down to 800-meter pace. Let's have 3-minute recoveries or something like that. So, and then a 2-mile cool down. So, and you can even do an up-tempo, like, let's say you do an 800-meter up-tempo to get the heart rate elevated to help you transition into that workout, which is a good idea to do. Okay, it'll make the quality of the actual workout, the main part of the workout, it would enhance that. So, and then a 2-mile cool down. And like I said, not every workout needs to be long. Okay? 9 miles in strides on Wednesday, 7 miles on Thursday, easy. Friday, 2-mile warm-up drills and strides, and then you do a progression run. Let's say a 4 or 5 mile progression run, plus some speed on the back end. So, every 2 miles can get faster, every mile can get a little bit faster, or something like that. It's a great way of kind of working to increase your anaerobic and your aerobic thresholds. Okay, your capacity to handle harder work too. And it's a great way of simulating races too. So then some speed on the back end. Let's say you do a progression run of 4 miles or 5 miles. You take a 4 to 5 minute active recovery, get some fluids, and then you do 3 by progression 150s on the back end. Progression 150s is, let's say, 50 meters float, 50 meters stride, 50 meters sprint. Each 50 gets faster on that end too. You walk back or you jog back and you repeat. It helps, again, simulate turning over when you're already fatigued. It kind of helps simulate the back end of a race. 2-mile cool down. And then the main long run, 13 to 14 miles. Okay, and then you have an off day on Sunday. Okay, so if you notice here, the off day is after the longer of the 2 long runs. Okay, and again, if you're racing on a Saturday, then you modify things a little bit. Okay, there's no workout here. You do a race instead or something like that. And again, I set this up so that you're training at multiple paces. You have the longer stuff here, which is like 10K and a little bit slower, and 5K and 3K, mile 800, and then you do a progression one where it gradually gets faster. So you're addressing the speed component, speed endurance, race pace, and kind of everything, and threshold capacity building too. And the more you train at a multi-pace training system, and I said this in my last video, and I'll continue to say this, the more you're setting yourself up or your athletes up for short-term and long-term success. So keep that in mind too. Okay? And again, it's a repeatable cycle. I mention this in a lot of my videos too. It takes 3 to 4 weeks to adapt to a training stimulus. Okay? This is a great way to repeat this cycle again. There's 2 weeks, and then you'll have 2 2-week cycles in a 4-week block. You reevaluate or let a race determine or a time trial determine whether you're ready to increase training paces. Okay? Or the intensity of your training paces. And I don't recommend increasing intensity and training speed at the same time. It's a recipe for injury, illness, or potentially both. I recommend letting races tell you, or time trials tell you, that you're ready to start training harder. Okay? And so that's what it looks like, okay, for a 2-week, 14-day middle distance training program for 60 weeks. And again, you add it up, it comes to about 60 weeks, give or take a mile. You can shorten a day here, lengthen a day here. You move things around based on need, okay? But it's all laid out there. And one other thing I want to emphasize, 60 miles here is an average of a little over 8 miles per day. I keep the same average here, so it's going to be lower. It's going to be in the 50s or the low 50s in this week to keep the average. Because if you go to 60 here and then you try to run 60 with the off day, you're adding miles per day. You're making the week harder, which negates the purpose of the off day. Okay, so you maintain the same average per day through the entire 14-day cycle. Repeat and then reevaluate. So, or do what you feel is most appropriate. Now let's move over to this side. Things are going to be a little bit different. Okay, long distance. Now we're going from 10K to marathon. 6 miles on Monday. Again, I always have Mondays an easy day. Tuesday, 2-mile warm-up drills and strides. Hill repeats. Okay, let's just say whether it's 8 by 400 meter hill repeat. Okay, and then you jog back down nice and easy. 2-mile cool down. Now you have an 8-mile day. Okay, of total running, including the warm-up and the cool down. 11 to 12 miles an intermediate run. Okay, plus strides. This could be 10 to 12 miles if you're training on the shorter end than the 10 miles. If you're training for a marathon, 12 miles, something like that. Okay. Easy, and then the strides in the back end. It could be 5 by 50 meter strides just to get the legs turning over. 6 miles easy on Thursday. Friday workout again. I keep the same Tuesday, Friday schedule here too. 2 mile warm-up drills and strides, and either a tempo run or anaerobic threshold running. Okay. So it could be, let's say, a 4 to 5 mile tempo or something like that, or anaerobic threshold. It could be 5 to 6 times 1,000, or 4 to 5 by 1,200 meter at threshold pace, which is slightly faster than your tempo run. Okay. If you want to know the differences between the two, I have threshold videos, I have tempo run videos, I have how to set the right training paces for everything based on what you run for a 1 mile time trial. They're all going to be in the description down below. So if you haven't seen them, take a look at them. It'll give you a lot of insight into how to set up training paces appropriately for everybody. And that is absolutely critical. If I could recommend 2 videos, it would be the 1 mile time trial and how to set the right training paces to make sure everybody is training at the right training zones. Okay, so that people in the back aren't hanging on for dear life to the people in front of them, because the recovery is going to be completely different. So, and that's critical for keeping people healthy and having them progress the way they should progress. So, back to this 2 mile cool down, 14 to 16 mile long run. Okay, generally I have a long run be about 20% of the week, but 20% of 60 miles is 12 miles. And if you're training for a marathon, the long run's got to be longer than that. This is the first time that I actually recommend anybody approaching 20 miles for a long run. I don't have anybody going to 20 miles or building towards 20 miles until they're at 60 miles per week. Below that, it's got to be under that. Okay. So 14 to 16 miles, 14 if you're training for a 10K, 16 if you're training for the marathon. Okay. And again, that's the opposite week. So that's kind of the semi-long run. And then 4 miles easy and strides on Sunday. Now to the second week, 6 miles on Monday, 2 mile warm-up drills and strides, speed fartlek, and if you're training for a marathon, let's say 24 times 1 minute hard and 1 minute easy. So it's 48 minutes of total running continuous, but you're only running 24 minutes of it hard, but it's fast, 5K paced and faster. Okay. Not every workout needs to be long when you're training for the marathon. Not every workout needs to be short if you're training for the 800 meters. So keep that in mind too. 2 mile cool down. 11 miles of intermediate running on Wednesday, okay, plus strides. 6 miles on Thursday, nice and easy. Friday workout, 2 mile warm-up drills and strides. Now you got threshold or VO2 max work, okay? I mean, it could be anaerobic threshold, but this could be continuous, okay, or tempo. That could be an aerobic threshold. Let's just say it could be, anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes of running. And this could be anaerobic threshold, could be a continuous run of no more than 4 miles, but at a faster pace. Threshold could be the cruise intervals. It could be 1,000 meter reps with the 1 minute recovery, which would be faster than both of these. So there's a lot of different types of aerobic threshold type of training. So make sure you watch those videos because I explain the difference between them. Okay. So threshold and VO2 max work. VO2 max, let's say if you're training for a marathon, this is, let's say you're doing VO2 max miles 5 times a mile. But it's going to be at 50 to 60 seconds faster per mile than your marathon pace. So let's say you're trying to run 3:30, which is 8 minutes per mile. You're looking to run these at like 7 minutes to 7:10 per mile. Significantly faster, but you're going to get full recovery, 4 to 5 minutes after each one. Okay? That's VO2 max work. It's not a super duper long workout, but it's also a good component of training, a very important component of the training, particularly for the marathon. Cool, 2 mile cool down. And then here's the main long run of the cycle, 14 to 20 miles, okay? And then the off day, the day after that, okay? The off day is always going to be after the longer long run, easy run after the shorter long run, okay? And yeah, I'll recommend a couple of things too here. So let's say here, this is a little bit more than 20%. Generally, I have a long run be 20% of the weekly mileage again, but this is a little bit more than that. But the semi-long run of the week, I generally make it 75% of what the long run runs. So if it's 16, it's going to be 12. That's 75% of the 16. 11 is going to be about 75% of 14. So, but here, since the long run is longer, I kind of shorten up the intermediate run here, okay, a little bit, so that allows you to be recovered enough to handle the long run, okay, and then have an off day and another easy day, 2 recovery days to come back and do another workout, okay. And again, you can mix this up too. You can turn this around so that if you want to do speed fartlek here so that it follows the long run, you can do that, and you have hill repeats here. You could do it any way you want, okay? But I wanted to give you an idea of what the 14-day cycle looks like. And again, this is also a repeatable cycle. You're hitting at multiple paces. You're training for addressing needs for 10K, for half marathon and marathon. Okay, also addressing the long run, and addressing other components, speed development with your strides, and all important components, every single one of them. Even if you're training for a marathon, speed development is absolutely critical. That's one reason I have the speed fartlek in there. The longer the races get, the more energy efficiency becomes that more critical. Preserving energy, being as efficient as possible with your running form, because a marathon is different from a 5K. If you have a bad day in a 5K, you can come back the following week and go for it again. A marathon is completely different. You can't come back the following week. That's when the grizzly bear jumps on your back. So if you have to be that much more precise in training for a marathon than you do a 5K or a 10K. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. But these are my 60-mile week layouts. Let me know what you think. Put your insights in the comments down below. If you found this helpful, hit the thumbs up, and please hit that subscribe button either way. Even if you don't plan on watching all the videos, hitting the subscribe button is really, really helpful. I'm about 800 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 1,000 in the next month or two, but I'd like to get to 2,500 or 2,000 or 2,500 later on this year. So your help is greatly appreciated. Next video, I'm going to go over what a 70-mile week looks like, and then I'm going to do a video on an 80-mile week, so you have an idea on that one too. So be on the lookout. Have a great week. Talk to you next time.